For my presentation, I'm going to be talking about positive guidance. For any presentation, it is important to make the audience feel welcome and comfortable. In order for the audience to gain the most from this experience, it is the presenter's responsibility to create an environment that the parents feel comfortable in, not judged, and engaged in. The audience's initial thoughts are going to come in from the environment that they walk into. I would have a welcome sign at the entrance where I would be greeting the parents coming in. There would also be a refreshment table available. I would also have a pamphlet at each seat that includes the outline of the presentation, resources available to the parents, as well as my contact information. For an icebreaker, I would introduce myself. Next, I would ask the group what brings them to the presentation and what they hope to learn. Lastly, I would ask what positive guidance means to them as an introduction of the topic. What is positive guidance? It is a tool for children's learning. The parent should guide and discipline the child with the understanding that he or she is affecting the child as a whole. Guidance discipline should not only be used to correct wrongful behavior, but should be modeled and taught by the parent's actions and behaviors. Positive guidance is a crucial component in parenting. This topic is often incorrectly interpreted as it involves disciplining. Many connect discipline with punishment and just as a way to correct wrongful behavior. However, discipline should also be seen as a way to guide children instead. A child needs to be taught, guided, and supported as they learn and grow, and parents, guardians, and caretakers are typically the role in the child's life. Through positive guidance, the child will develop respect, self-regulation, self-confidence, and sensitivity. It is also important for a parent or guardian to understand the developmental stages of a child and how the guidance affects the child as a whole, and also to be familiar with the strategies and techniques in order to be effective. What is the importance of positive guidance? I have separated these topics by the child and also general importances and reminders. For the child, it teaches the child appropriate behaviors, demonstrates respect to the child and models respectful actions, teaches the child to appreciate him or herself as well as others, helps children use conflict resolution strategies as they interact with one another. For general and reminders, it considers reasons for the child's misbehavior or mistaken behaviors, uses a proactive approach including creating an environment conducive to learning and less likely to cause children's misbehaviors, creates positive relationships between children and adults. The strategies may help build partnerships between parents and teachers, nurtures peacemaking and justice, provides opportunities to resolve conflicts in nonviolent ways. Punishment produces harm consequences to young children. Punishment does not teach children appropriate behaviors. And with punishment, please keep in mind guidance is not punishment. You do not want to focus on controlling your child or making them behave out of fear. While researching this topic, I came across this quote. Guiding children's behaviors is something done throughout the day, not just when a child acts in a way that is unsafe or unacceptable. You guide behavior by establishing predictable routines, setting clear rules with children, and modeling kindness and respect. You are also attentive and aware of what is going on. Together, these actions help children feel noticed, confident, and secure. Children experience your attention and guidance as a caring embrace, holding everything together. They know you're on their team. To me, this quote means it reinstates how guidance in a child's life is a process. It should be acted upon throughout the day and not just when the child is misbehaving. You practice guidance through different strategies and techniques, and keep in mind you may need to adjust the techniques to your child accordingly. Not every technique and strategy is going to work on every child. And you shouldn't be acting against your child either. Instead, you should act as a team and work together. Proactive strategies. Be clear and consistent. With this, also stay simple. Give simple and direct limits, which limits are considered rules. The child will better understand when limits are consistently enforced and simple. You want to stay consistent with the parents. So mom and dad want to be enforcing the same rules and limits and not depending on, well, mom says this, dad says this. You want to make sure the child clearly understands what is expected of them. Set a positive example. Model the behavior and attitude you expect from your child. Your child's watching you, and they're going to gain their attitude and behaviors from their parents or the adults that they are around. So you want to set that positive example for your child. Focus on the desired behavior rather than the one avoided. So you want to be more attentive to the behavior that you want. You want to explain to the child what you expect of them rather than focus on the one that you want to avoid. That way they're not focusing on that kind of behavior. Direct and respond in a positive way rather than negatively. Focus on what you want the child to do rather than what not to do. The child is less likely to respond defensively or resist. For example, say, it's time to put the box away, not don't leave the box out on the floor. Create a safe and worry-free environment and check in frequently. This way you can keep an eye on the child and you're not waiting until the child is already misbehaving. You can redirect before the child starts that behavior. Focus on the behavior rather than the child. Focus on how you respond. You do not want to be attacking the child or criticizing the child's character. Also, negative responses can result in the child feeling guilty or ashamed, or even cause the child to have lower self-esteem. For example, if the child's climbing on the table, say, "It's not safe to climb on the tables, please get down." You want to encourage self-control by providing appropriate choices. You want to give your child the choice to choose and only at appropriate times. So you can offer different toys, you can offer different choices, whether it's do you want to do this or do you want to do that. That way you're providing your child self-control of like, well, they're getting to choose this choice. Be available to your child. Let your child know that you are there for if they need your help. That way they're not misbehaving in a way to get your attention or misbehaving because they can't do something on their own. Be encouraging to your child. You want to encourage positive behavior, so that whether you are praising your child or you're just showing excitement that your child's doing what you expect for them. And be respectful. You want to respond and act respectful to your child in order for your child to learn that behavior from you as well. How to intervene. Be respectful when trying to gain the child's attention. Approach the child individually, speak their name, get down to the child's level to speak, and be aware of your tone of voice. Your tone of voice can either make the child feel safe, secure, and cared for, or hurt and self-conscious. It all depends on how you're talking to your child. And also be aware of your facial expressions and make sure they are consistent with what you're trying to say. You don't want your face showing that you're mad when you're also trying to be more positive in your voice. Make sure those match each other. Use proximity and touch. This can be useful if the child is hitting, pinching, or kicking. Simply move closer to the child. Move the child from another child if they are interacting inappropriate with the other child. Or simply put an arm around the child to calm that child. Just simply putting your arm around the kid and letting them know that you're there can also just calm the child. Acknowledge the child's feelings before setting limits. You want the child to know that their feelings are important too, so it is important to acknowledge the child's feelings. Say, "I know it's hard for you to wait in line, but the rule is we have to line up to be next." Let them know that you are acknowledging how they're feeling, but this is what you expect of them anyway. Redirect or change the situation. This way you can kind of distract your child from the action they're about to do. You can move them from the environment that they're in. You can remove the toys. You can take away certain toys. That way they're not fighting over the same toy or acting inappropriately with one toy. Just focus on redirecting or changing situation for that child. Model problem-solving skills. This is where the parent becoming a model to the child is very important. What you model to your child is how the child's going to behave. What they see the mom and dad do is what the child's going to do. So make sure you're modeling appropriate behaviors and what you expect for the child. Limit toy usage. This is kind of going back to redirecting or changing the situation. The child is misbehaving with multiple toys. Take those certain toys away. Or if your child is just overwhelmed with the amount of toys that they have available, take some of them away. Provide logical consequences. This is like when you can explain that, well, this isn't going to work because you want to explain why this is not acceptable or why this is not going to work or why you expect this behavior because your child will more understand that what's expected of them if you're trying to explain it in a logical way. Positive disciplinary techniques. You want to consider these statements and questions before you take action on your child's behavior. First, ask yourself, is the child doing something wrong? Is there a real problem, or are you just tired and out of patience? We know as parents you often run out of patience, you're tired and just wore out, but it's not right to take it out on the child. So you want to ask yourself this question. And if there's not really a problem, make sure you don't release your stress out on the child. Find a way to relieve your stress in an appropriate way away from the child. You don't want your child seeing that kind of behavior. And you don't want to model taking out your anger on the child because the child will think that's okay. If there is a problem, go to the next statement. Think about the moment about whether your child is actually capable of doing what you expect. Are you being realistic for your child, or is your expectations something your child can actually do? If not, reevaluate your expectations. Make sure they are appropriate for your child's age and just your child in general. If your child has a learning disability, make sure your expectations are to that child's needs. Or if you have a younger child and an older child, make sure your expectations are accordingly to their age and their development areas. If your expectations are fair, go down to the next question. Did your child know at the time what they were doing was wrong? This behavior is when a child chooses to behave incorrectly. If your child did not know if what they were doing was wrong, help them understand what you expect and how they can do it. This is when you may not like the behavior that they're doing, but you can't necessarily punish them if they don't know what they're doing is wrong. So you have to set the limits, explain what they need to do, explain what you expect of them. You need to explain it in a way that they understand, that way they can behave accordingly to you. Now, if the child has intentionally misbehaved, respond with an intervention that works best for your child. And attached, I have some resources that have been available. Two websites of what I found helpful in researching. And the first website, it has multiple articles that relate to this. And even the second one, it also has multiple articles. I just found them very useful in providing like different ideas and like different examples of what's best, and like just gave really great information on positive guidance. The last two are books for parents. One I think is more written by a parent, so it gives a parent's point of view. And then the last one is just it gives different parenting tools and like how you can be effective for your child. And then lastly, here are my references for the research I have done on this project. And you can always refer to these to gain more information or to get clarification for some of the topics we talked about.